Fall is finally here, which means the best cozy reading vibes. That's why today I want to show you the 12 books that I am most excited to read during this fall season. These books range from fantasy, dark romance, contemporary romance, and even dark academia. Hi guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. Hi, how are you? Like I said, I want to show you my fall TBR today. Now I have 12 books to show you, and the reason it's so many is because this is basically my TBR for the months of October and November. These months to me are like peak fall vibes, so that's why I really want to read these books in those months. Before you ask, you did not miss a TBR picking video. I picked these just based off of my own vibes and kind of based off of the books that are the highest on my radar and what I really want to read for this fall and like what I think would match the fall season the best. So with all that being said, let's just get right into it. The first book that we have is my most anticipated read of probably my entire life, and that is Alchemized by Senlin Yu. This is a piece of dark fantasy. It's dark romance. I guess it's not really dark romance, but this used to be a fan fiction. This used to be a Hermione fan fiction, which is a Harry Potter fan fiction with the characters Draco and Hermione, which is just a bit crazy. I understand that. However, this as a fan fiction was one of the best books that I think I had ever read. Honestly, it was so good. I think that the way that she wrote the characters and kind of like, she really deviated from Harry Potter. Like that book, I imagined those characters completely separate from Harry Potter because they were not very different. Like the characters still had the same vibes to them, but it was mostly just like she used that story to create her own story, which is the best way that I can describe it, because oh my gosh, was that book amazing. And it's finally traditionally published and I'm finally holding it in my hands. This book is 1,000 pages though, so this book is a monster. Just for like a little bit of what this book's about, it's basically about a girl named Helena, and that is our female main character, who is the only surviving member of the Eternal Flame, which is the resistance group that was going against the evil people, the bad people. There was a war, and our story starts where good has lost the war and evil is reigning over this world. So very exciting stuff in here. It's basically split up into 3 parts. It's split up into part 1, which is Helena, my girl, is confused. She's got all her memories. They're locked away. She can't remember anything about the war. She can't remember anything about, what happened in the last 14 months of her life, and she wants to get those memories back, but no one wants to get them back more than our evil ruler here, and he's not opposed to torturing her for this information. So, and then you get like flashbacks after that of kind of what she missed during those 14 months, and then the third part is, I guess, life afterwards. And I am going to post a reading vlog, an in-depth analysis of this book, so you should definitely subscribe so that you don't miss that if you want to hear my honest thoughts on this and kind of like what the difference between fan fiction to novel is. Like 110% subscribe so that you don't miss that. But let's move on. The second book on my TBR is a book that follows the same tune as Alchemized, and that is Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. Wow, compared to that book, this book is so light. Like, honestly, it's insane. That book's so heavy. Anyway, look at how gorgeous this is. Look at that. Oh wait, she's ripped. That's not good. Oh my gosh. But anyway, look at how pretty she is. This is another Hermione fanfic turned traditionally published, and this is, if you'd ever read it, The Auction. If you're in the Hermione fanfiction or even just Harry Potter fanfiction world, like I'm sure you would have heard about this, but if you haven't, if you've ever read it, this is The Auction traditionally published. This shocked me to my core when I found out that this was Julie Soto. I think her like AO3 name is like Loves Bitka 8 or something. Queen Julie Soto is already she's already an established author, and I've actually never read anything that she's written, but I've heard good things about it, and I was shocked that this was her. But again, this is basically like dark fantasy, dark romance, but I don't think that this is nowhere near as dark as Alchemized is, but it's still pretty dark, so very excited for that. And now moving on from traditionally published fanfics, I have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Now this is nowhere near new. This has come out, I want to say last year, 2 years ago, something like that. Last year. This is the only Ali Hazelwood book that I haven't read. I love her, and I was terrified of this book because this is like a Omega-verse, and I actually have read an Omega-verse fan fiction and I didn't like it, but with that being said, I know that a lot of people have said that even though the topics in this are not everyone's cup of tea, that the book is still pretty good. So I'm gonna give it a try. Basically, our female main character is the daughter of a powerful vampire, and she's falling in love with an alpha werewolf, and he's the ruler of his pack because he's an alpha. It just sounds very silly to me, but I really avoided this book for a really long time, but this month or next month, we're gonna get into it. I know the second one is coming out soon, or maybe it's come out already, I'm not entirely sure, but I know that there's gonna be a second one, or that there is a second one, and that's kind of why I wanted to read this book, because I knew that the second one was coming out, so I was like, maybe I should read the first one, because then if I like it, I can get the second one, because when the second one comes out, that's 2 books that I haven't read from one of my favorite authors, and that makes me feel sad. So we're gonna get to this at some point, and hopefully it'll be in a reading vlog. Again, subscribe so you don't miss those, so you guys won't miss my thoughts on this, because I know this book is quite controversial in the world of Ali Hazelwood fans, because, you know, she was writing STEM romances and then came out with an Omega-verse romance. So hopefully this is good. Almost scared, but it's okay. And then to go in a completely different direction, we have the probably epitome of fall book, Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice by Katie Ciccatelli. I'm just gonna show it to you, because this could go either way. This I bought at, look at the edges, they're so cute. This I bought in Barnes. It was at the cafe for $5, and if the book sounds even remotely good, even if it's not like my most favorite book ever, or something that I normally wouldn't buy for, this one's not bad. I think this book's YA, so it's only $13, but sometimes they have like $20 books there that are $5. Of course I'm gonna buy it because it's $5 and I'm already buying coffee. Or a spinach and feta pretzel. If you know, that is the best thing that you could ever get at a Barnes & Noble cafe. Anyway, this is a YA romance about high school rivalries. They're in the same high school, but their parents own rival coffee companies, which I think is just honestly cute and fun. And I'm actually really excited for this. I don't know if it's gonna be like the best, most groundbreaking thing that I've ever read, but it's short. It's only like 300 pages. And I know that's not like that short, but compared to the 1,000-page book, this is probably gonna feel really good to read because it's gonna be like a palate cleanser, and I'm excited for it for that reason. So yeah, and it's pretty. Look at that shine. Gorgeous. And then I have The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This is a cozy fantasy, and it's very cozy. Look at the cover. She's so cute. And this has a second one, or just kidding. It's just a second book that this author has written called The Enchanted Greenhouse that I almost bought with this book, but it's a hardcover, so. But I just really wanted to own this because I think it's really pretty, although I am not a fan of the solid color sprayed edges. I honestly think that if we're gonna do a sprayed edge, it needs to have like a design to be a thing, because most of my books now have sprayed edges and they've just really lost the novelty for me. But anyway, our female main character is a librarian, and it gets burnt down, and then she flees to a remote island, but it's actually her childhood home. Plot twist. I'm actually just reading the back to you guys so that you can get some kind of gauge of what it's about, because I picked this up because someone on TikTok said that this was a really good cozy fantasy, and I said, okay, sign me up. Yeah, and then she makes jam with illegal magic. She opens up a secret spell shop. I'm excited to read this. It sounds good, and like I said, people say this is a really good, just regular cozy fantasy, but I think it's like a cozy romantasy, because on the back it says it takes a village to open a heart and just one man to steal it. So I'm kind of feeling like this is a cozy romantasy, which could be fun. And then the next book that I have is Half-Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the author of the From Blood and Ash series, and I read that a really long time ago. I actually just recently bought the paperback of the first book, From Blood and Ash, because I really want to read it again, but at Barnes & Noble they only sell hardcovers and they're like $25 to $30, so I'm not doing that, and also I hate hardcovers. So, but anyway, this is the first book in the Covenant series, which I'm assuming is about witches. This is a YA romantasy book, and it's about a 17-year-old who, she basically is like brought up to, oh, I don't know why I didn't pick up on this when I read the back, but this literally sounds like Percy Jackson. Please listen to this. 17-year-old Alex and her mother have spent, this is not very Percy Jackson because they're on the run from the Covenant, but listen, a school where the pure descendants of gods hone their powers and half-mortal teens like Alex trained to kill daemons, which I'm assuming is supposed to be like demons, but when her mom is murdered by daemons and she has nobody else to turn to, Alex finds herself back at the Covenant where she has two options: become a servant or work twice as hard as everyone else to catch up in her training. Does that not sound like Percy Jackson? Like a little bit, like he's like a half, what are they called? I don't know. And like his mom's killed by like the people that they're trying to fight and like whatever. I don't know. But anyway, that's what this book's about and it sounds good, but now I'm kind of thinking it sounds like Percy Jackson. So hopefully it's not a ripoff of that. Okay, and then the next book that's on my TBR is One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. This girl's my queen. I always say this all the time, and you will probably hear this from me time and time again. I always say that I love her. I've only ever read one thing that she's traditionally published. However, I did read her Hermione fanfics, Marked and Clean, if you know, you know. And then I found out she was traditionally publishing The Atlas Six, and I read it and I loved it. And now I buy everything that she puts out, even though I've only ever read one of the books. So it's a little crazy, but that's just me. Anyway, this is One for My Enemy, and this is a dark, magical enemies to lovers. I don't know if it's considered fantasy because I don't know if it's like magical realism because it's set in modern New York City, or if it's like actually fantasy just with a real world. But then that wouldn't be fantasy. If it's got a real world setting, then that would be like magical realism. I don't know. Also got some kind of like family sibling rivalry going on, which I think could be kind of fun, and I've heard good things about it. So I've probably had this for over a year now, and I really want to get to this and Masters of Death I want to get to, but I didn't put them both on here because I don't know, I just thought maybe if I had put them both on here then there was no way I was gonna read them both, but if I do read them both then that is very exciting, but I didn't want to push my luck. The next one that I have is not actually in my hands because it comes out in a couple weeks, but that is Red City by Marie Lu. If you guys know anything about me, I love her. She is my top favorite author purely from nostalgia alone. Like the Legend series that she wrote was like the first series that I ever cared about, and like the first book series that I ever really like carried with me and like reread and loved deeply. So pure nostalgic reasons why I love her as an author. However, because she writes mostly YA, so I don't read a ton of YA anymore, but I do always go, I say that, and like half the things on this list are YA, whatever. I'm a little crazy sometimes. Anyway, I will always read a book that she puts out. However, Red City is her adult novel debut, and I'm really excited. I also got the arc of this book probably back in like April, I want to say, off of NetGalley. I really haven't read it yet, and I really want to read the arc before the book comes out, so I want to read it soon because I don't want my credibility on NetGalley to go down, but I haven't read it yet, so hopefully we'll get through it soon. Hopefully that'll be one of the first books that I read this month, because it's October now. The next book that I have is a dark fantasy. It is The Scholar and the Last Fairy Door by H.G. Parry. I'm not entirely sure, but this is a dark academia YA fantasy, and this is set in the 1920s, so pretty old, and it's basically like our main character's brother died. Oh, no. Our main character's brother was the only one of the survivors in a deadly attack during World War I, and there's also like a romance in here, and I think it's like rivals to lovers, maybe a bit of a mystery aspect in here. A lot of these books that are on my TBR, I picked up in the bookstore because I read the back of them and I thought they sounded good, and then I picked them up and I wrote my TBR a couple weeks ago. Actually, I'm filming this, like I said, really late, really close to when I'm posting this, so not to dox myself or anything here, but I went back and I like read the back of the book and I like wrote down a little bit of what I was going to say about it, and then I was like, this is not really helpful. These notes are not really indicative of what the actual plot of these books are, and I'm sure that's what you guys want to hear about. So some of these I have to read the back of them. I'm just going to be real with you. I don't know everything. This is the 9th book on my TBR. I know I haven't really been keeping track, but we have 3 more left. So the 10th book is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which I have had this book for probably years now. Back when I first read The Inheritance Games, and I bought the 2nd and the 3rd book in that series, which I still haven't read, and I also bought this with it because I really liked her writing in that, and I've heard a lot of people say that this book is better than The Inheritance Games, which is crazy because I really liked The Inheritance Games, and this is like Criminal Minds-esque. This is like YA, and it's like dark academia vibe, I'm pretty sure. And like they have like special abilities where they can like solve crimes really well. Her and like a couple other teenagers like work for the FBI to like solve crimes. So that's why it's like Criminal Minds-esque, because they work for the FBI. And it sounds like a little bit dystopian almost, which I feel like is fun. I mean, obviously it's not dystopian because it's the same world as ours and it's like the same, probably the same like government and stuff as ours, but it's just like It gives me the same vibe as the Darkest Minds, is that what it's called? Where they're like separated into the groups based off of their like abilities from like the sickness. I just watched the movie the other day. But anyway, that's what this book gives me, except if it was like happening in like our current America. And then next we have, honestly, a highly anticipated read for me. And again, I've had this book for probably over a year now, but I'm really trying to crack down on my TBR and get to books that I've had for a really long time. But that is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. And this is the, I think, recommended place to start to get into this world. I think it's called the Cosmere. I have been wanting to get into Brandon Sanderson as an author, obviously, for a really long time, because that's why I bought, look at how floppy this book is though. Isn't that amazing? I love that. It's giving me life, honestly. Anyway, I've been wanting to get into his world for a really long time, so I'm super excited about this, and I definitely really want to get through it because I want to buy more of his books, and I want to not just like buy more of his books, but like I want to get deeper into the world because I know there's so many books that go along with it. And also I've just heard really, really good things about him as an author, so I really want to experience his book. There's a short synopsis, so I'm just going to read it to you. It says, "Once a hero arose to save the world, he failed. Ever since, the world has been a wasteland of ash and mist controlled by the immortal emperor known as the Lord Ruler." That's an interesting name. That's like an Alchemist. You heard me avoiding saying what the actual like ruler's name was. It's because he's called the High Necromancer, which I don't like that as a term. Like the High Necromancer, the High Lord. No, that's Harry Potter. That's ACOTAR. The Dark Lord is Harry Potter. It's called the High Necromancer. Like, I get it, but also, like, it just doesn't flow for me. Like, I don't feel like it's like, oh my god, and like, the evil guy in this world, the High Necromancer. Yeah, it just feels weird to me. Like, I don't know what else. Like, the king. Like, I wish he was a king. I wish they just called him, like, King Moro or something. Or, like, Lord Moro or something. Maybe that would have been too close to Harry Potter. Maybe that's why she had to change it. Anyway, but hope survives. A new uprising is forming, one built around the ultimate caper, the cunning of a brilliant criminal mastermind, and the determination of an unlikely heroine, a street urchin who must learn to master the power of a Mistborn. That's what that's about. Very short synopsis, that's why it's literally so short, that's why I read it. And last but not least on the fall TBR is Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. And you might be thinking, Allie, that is not the newest book in the series. That came out last year. Yeah, I know. I bought it last year. And I also went out and bought Accomplice to the Villain, which is the one that came out this year. But I have not even read Apprentice to the Villain yet. So this is the second book in the Assistant to the Villain series. Assistant to the Villain is about a girl named Evie who basically runs into the villain, which is what this world deems him as. Like, he doesn't really have any other name except for just the villain, and he is the villain. Like, he's evil, and she goes and works for him as an assistant. And I remember thinking that book was a good time. I always remember just talking about it and saying that I think it was marketed wrong because it's marketed as like a romantasy, but I think it's more of just like a comedy, honestly, because I think it was good, but I don't think the world was very fleshed out, so I wouldn't really call it a fantasy. I think it was, call it like it is, a comedy. I think it was a romantic comedy with fantasy elements. And if you think about it that way, then the book's amazing for that genre. I don't think it was the best fantasy book I've ever read, but I think it was a really good romantic comedy with fantasy elements. This is the last book on my TBR now. I'm gonna try and pick all these books up. So here is the fall TBR. -1 book because Alchemist is really heavy. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about the books that I want to read during this fall season. You should definitely subscribe so that you don't miss my rating of any of these books, because this is the place that I will go on and on about these books. If you are skeptical about reading any of these books and you want to hear someone talk about them, again, subscribe so that you don't miss my review of them, because it will be somewhere. If not in a reading vlog, it will be in a wrap-up somewhere. And if it's not on my YouTube channel, you can definitely go check my rating out on Goodreads. You can follow me there. And I also have a TikTok where I don't post very often, but I'm trying to post more regularly, but I am on a TikTok cleanse right now. But I will have all of that linked in the description for you. And with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you guys in my next one. Bye! Mwah!